With so much content out there, how do you filter through all the noise and cut straight to the value? What has become very apparent is that the best way to learn is to surround yourself with those you aspire to be. But you can't just watch what they do. At some point you have to turn it into an action. Knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is power. On this podcast, you will go on a journey as we speak to people who are making the difference in their industries, and people who, if you listen to closely and take action, can turn you into who you want to be. My name is Mark Sclair, and this is the Building a Successful Career podcast. Ken, I thank you for your time today. Let's try and make this as free-flowing as possible, really, but I thought it would be good for us to document it because after years of speaking with you, you do drop some gems. So I think rather than going, let's record this thing, let's just be it, cameras in the back, let's just go with this. So bit of context to this, I recently started a new role in my 4th week now. Yes, I got out of the entrepreneurial life, stepped into the real world again, but taking on a role and there's a lot of marketing involved. And I think speaking to you about it, getting some advice, best practice, some quick wins, what you see people doing wrong, I think it's cool to speak about that. So what to generalize, what are the mistakes that you see people making when they're looking to do lead generation, for example?
Okay, cool. So I think lead generation is an interesting one. I think that firstly, you have to define what is a lead. That will be the first issue. Many people, they don't really define it. So like, hey, a lead is a name, a number, an email. I mean, for us, that's definitely not a lead, right? That's just a name, a number, and an email. So I think the first clear part where people go really wrong is they don't define what is a lead to them. Yeah. And when I say that, for example, I own multiple businesses, a lead is different to each type of business. For example, a lead in a real estate kind of platform would be intent on a specific area, a specific region, a specific price range. I would need to have all that information along with contact details that are validated. Yeah. As in like confirm that this is their number as opposed to them just putting in a number. So there would be a set of data that you would need to define as this is the lead which I'm trying to capture. Otherwise, it's like if you just said, "Hey, I get name, numbers, and emails. It's a numbers game." I could just send you 200,000 name, numbers, and emails. I mean, they're not leads, right? So I think what is a lead? That has to be the start. How do you define a lead? Yeah, a lead might be, for example, a name, a validated number, because this is all easy to do now with SMS confirmation. Yeah. Intent on some sort of product, right? Interest. Maybe past experience in terms of what they've done in relation to a certain product, right? So for example, if we go back to the real estate sector, have you owned a home? Yeah. How long have you been looking for? Yeah. So you define, this is the minimum data set that I require. Yeah. And this is what a lead is to me. And this can change and evolve over time because you start capturing details, you realize actually I might be taking too much data, which is reducing the amount of lead flow you're getting, or I actually don't know enough about the client. Because the question is always comes down to, would you have 10 extremely qualified leads? Yep, or 1,000 extremely non-qualified leads? And the answer for us is time, right? So 10 extremely qualified leads, you had a higher closure rate in terms of your conversion funnel. And you then say, right, how can I get 10 more of these extremely qualified leads? So define the lead. Yeah. What is a lead to you? Yeah. And that could be anything from not just what information you're collecting, but from what type of people you're targeting. Yeah. So if you've got a lead from an 18-year-old, maybe that's not in your target demographic. So, and then you only count leads that meet these criteria. The rest is just nonsense. Yeah.
Okay. So what do you do when there's a sort of conflict within the company where marketing and the director, for example, they don't really understand? They're not on the same path with it. And, the marketing just want to get loads and loads of leads in. I'm sure you've had this conflict within the company. And then the salespeople are coming in saying these leads are absolute dog. How do you stop that conflict?
Yeah, so it's an educational process. So I have, salespeople or business partners going leads, just repeating, rhetoric to me. And the question is that, okay, let's look at the existing business that we have, an existing flow. and work out how we can increase conversions. Understanding the data is much better. Like, I'll give you some context here, right? So we're looking at, so going back to the real estate side, we're generating leads that we're not closing, right? In certain areas. When you actually look at this in detail, we find out the areas that we generate leads in, we have no inventory or any agents. Yep. No wonder. And they want more leads. More leads equals more deals. No, even if we've got 10,000 more leads, we still wouldn't close. So basically, it's understanding with the full data set, right? Because, you know, sales is just, sales and marketing is just understanding data and creating funnels, right? There's no like magic sauce to it. I'm sure you can have better conversion funnels at the end of it and better people that can increase it. But it's understanding as a business what you're trying to achieve. Yeah. So, you know, if you're trying to market a product, okay, number one, what is the product? Understand that in detail. Obviously, that's just the basic fundamentals. Number two, who are you targeting for this product? Yeah, specifically, who are you targeting? And keep this in mind with all the marketing material you create, because the marketing team aren't connected. There's always disconnect. They're driven by how many leads effectively they send. But the reality is that, you know, they're not driven to align to the goals of the businesses. So when you're dealing in this scenario, you want to make sure that the marketing team are directly related to the actual end goal of the business. Now, this is a hard one if it's not e-commerce. Yeah, this is where it becomes very challenging. With e-commerce, it's very clear because you can connect it straight through the funnel that this is the amount of marketing dollars we're spending from, say, PPC or Facebook or TikTok, wherever you're going to go down. This is how much revenue we're generating. Yeah, immediately. The issue goes when it's an online to offline funnel, which I think is where your business is probably at, where, and it's all about creating, you know, basically the workflows to understand that, because you want to be analyzing definitely on a macro level and go down granularly, but slowly. Yeah. Because what a lot of people have a tendency to do is go, okay, I'm going to look at top level and then I'm going to look at it in so much detail. And then they get kind of lost. Well, this campaign generation, this amount of leads. So say, for example, we're looking at real estate and say we're looking at Thailand. I'll be like, one of the biggest mistakes we've had is we made a comparison between Phuket and Bangkok. We were like, hey, we've got this amount of leads in Phuket and this amount of leads in Bangkok. Sorry, it's got a call coming through. And Bangkok is like bigger than Singapore. It's a country in its own right. So you can't compare the two. Like, so you should remove Bangkok and just say, hey, these are the sub-regions or locations. So when you're on an online to offline business, it's all about having the marketing team and the business or sales team sat down together, understanding what is a transaction and how we recognize the transaction. And it's massively important that the sales team acknowledge every time a sale has taken place that this is the channel that actually, you know, that created that opportunity. Because most people, as soon as it goes to the sales side, we've done deals, it all gets lost at that point. Yeah. And, you know, they want to focus on closing and creating revenue as opposed to understanding where that transaction actually came from. Like, you know, how did that client come about? Was the first touch point PPC, and then was it direct, or was it, you know, like where did they come in through? Yeah. You know, and what was the closure time, and understanding all this, you know, where were even they located? Because you're in Dubai, it's a very international market. People you're contacting are either inside or outside Dubai. It's very transient coming through. So it's about getting as much information as you can about, you know, about the clients you're targeting, the products you're trying or services you're trying to market, and the journey that they go on. Yeah. And effectively just looking for trends and correlations, analyzing that data. And that's how you become really effective at what you do. Yeah.
Cool. So what would you see as some of the big mistakes that people make? And like, what have you done? I guess, you know, you've made mistakes along the way, but what have you seen now that's like the really buzz at the moment that people should be going for in regards to marketing? Because there's so much to do, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot. So I think, you know, okay. I see this all the times, you know, because I mentor quite a lot of businesses, but, you know, the first thing people do is they have websites, right? That's usually, you know, the definition of what they're doing in their marketing. And they market their website. They might do like PPC or some Facebook advertising, right? when they go on a website, they've got no idea of what's going on besides did an inquiry come through? Yeah, they don't understand funnels or journeys. So what you really want to do, and the other part is that once they leave the website, they don't remarket to them, which is a nutty thing to do. So we already know that the chances that they go and send an inquiry in the first visit is very, very unlikely, right? They usually shop around, compare a few platforms, and then come back. So the first one is to understand, okay, fine. Are you trying to drive traffic to the site to create leads? Or do you even need them to go to your site? Do you just create leads outside of your site, right? So the question is that what value, and this becomes very difficult for people because everyone's like, oh, my site's amazing. Like 99.99% of sites are absolute dog shit, right? Like they're totally, they don't explain everything. They're like a testament to whoever built it, as opposed to, hey, this is the funnel to really educate the user. Like they send them to the homepage because they think that's important. No. Send them directly to the service you're marketing. Yeah. And it should be clear. Yeah, because so that will be the first thing, is that people don't really understand, number one, what their process is. Are you trying to drive people to a page? And the question is, if you are trying to drive people to a page, why? Yeah, not because that's what we're meant to be doing, but you've got to have some logical reasons to do it. Because in terms of marketing now, there's all different sources in terms of you can do direct lead marketing through, say, Facebook or TikTok, or even Google now have forms where you can bypass platforms and just get details straight from LinkedIn. Do the same. Or the other methods, which a lot of companies, most companies adopt for, is to send them to their platform, yeah, and then convert them through their funnels.
Yeah.
Now, you would only do that if you actually have a great platform, great funnels. Otherwise, don't send them to your platform, right? But people just get lost, and it's more ego. And I know, they think they know, even though they've never really done anything to this kind of level before. So I think you want to understand so once you understand, okay, what's a lead to you, yeah. Then you want to understand, well, what would be the best method to get leads? Yeah. If it's just like a spray and pray approach, you might as well just do offline marketing, get people standing outside the shopping center and asking people for details. You'll be much more efficient that way. Yeah. But if it's like, hey, listen, I'm targeting, I want them to go through this qualification process to understand information. And if they've viewed A, B, and C, then that qualifies them, because it doesn't have to be always giving us details. So for example, with FASWAS, we're saying, hey, we have an automatic qualification process, which says, like, if they've viewed more than X amount of properties in the same region, then they're a better client than someone who just come on and inquired. Hey, interest in the property, right? That's not a good lead. But the same flow with someone who's looked at multiple units would be much better, a much more targeted lead, or had been to the platform multiple times. Okay. So to do like efficient, and the best companies in the world, like the Amazons, all these companies, this is how they operate. The noobs operate with just like a PPC campaign. My service, click on it, and the lead form, and that's it. I got 2 leads today, I got 5 leads today. That would be it. So the biggest mistake is not understanding what we're trying to do. Yep. And it's just a lack of the reasons it happens is, one is a lack of knowledge. And the latter is that, like, ego is taken into account from the marketing team. Everyone's done this before. Yep. I do Facebook, blah, 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 blah. But, we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a month on marketing, and with kind of the difference with us saving ourselves 10% is now, quite a lot of money. So we have to get it right. And, we have to fully make sure we've got funnels that work. So I think that would be the fundamental problem. People don't understand what funnel they're trying to get into. Yeah. And if you take the process offline, okay, yeah, it totally makes sense. It's like, hey, you're interested. Hey, why don't you read this material and then give me a call in a week, right? That could be like an offline funnel. Yeah. But online, it's just like, yeah, just grab the details, right? And think the rest is magic. And it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. Like, you have to be re-engaged, retargeted, get them into some sort of even post inquiry. When they inquire, we have drip campaigns that target them, which are specific and personalized, as opposed to just sending out the same material for everything. Because the majority of companies offer a range of services, yeah, or a range of products. So when you're actually using, whether it's EDMs, which is a big mistake as well, they usually send them
EDMs as what?
Email campaigns, basically. Yeah. Okay. Email direct marketing. They usually send a very generic stuff about the company. It's like,
Yeah,
hey, you know, we're this, we offer a range. Like, for example, it's like me sending EDMs or mail out saying, hey, listen, Fazwaz has property all over Thailand. Listen, it's like, you know, if you're looking to buy in like Dubai, you're not interested in Qatar most of the time. So
yeah.
why include it? Make it very relevant to them. So it's all about understanding this and making sure, you know, you're feeding them the right information, which is really, really helping them. And I think a lot of marketers have no experience doing this. You know, the issue is that, you know, there's no kind of requirements to be a marketer. There's no like, I've done this and I've done that. You know, everyone's suddenly a marketer. Everyone's, you know, anyone who's done sales and marketing claims that they know marketing. And the truth is that most of the time they'll know diggity dog shit, right? Which is a challenge. Yeah.
But let's go back a little bit there, because when I sat with the marketing girl, we looked at retargeting, and I've gone, yeah, that's a massive thing. People come away from the site, they don't buy first of all. It's after you being in the head constantly, okay? But their feedback was that we were doing this and we were appearing on the weirdest sites.
Yeah.
So what we want to be, we want to, I guess, does that mean that those clients are going there, but that's where they're going afterwards? But we want to appear in places which is something to do with our brand, with our company, with our product, with our service, with high level, high ticket items. So is there,
Yeah. So
is there
there's
anything
two
in
types.
regards to that? Like,
Well, there's two types, but people get confused what remarketing is. Remarketing is basically putting a pixel on your computer and following the user around, right? So you can say, hey, I want to only appear on these sites, but they might never go to these sites. Yep. So remarketing is personalized, targeted marketing for that user. And every user experiences different sites. Yeah. So the question is, yes, you might not want to be affiliated with porn sites, but Google stops all this anyway. Yeah. Or gambling sites. But if they're reading a blog about health and nutrition, you might want a reminder for them because it's very targeted. And you know, remarketing is a very, very useful tool because you're only targeting people that have already engaged with your platform. So it's perfect, right? So it's like, you know, a billboard, for example, it targets everyone. Yeah. This is basically, you know, and you can put a cookie, for example, 180 days, and you can have frequency of, so number one, I don't think it matters where you're seeing the ads. Yeah. As you know, as long as it's not on like terrible sites, right?
yeah.
The second is when you're doing this, is you've got to be careful of ad fatigue. What a lot of people do is like, oh yeah, we're remarketing and we're sending you, you know, the same message every day they're seeing. You get ad fatigue, right? So you can have, okay, this is my 1 day remarketing ad. This is my 3 to 7 day remarketing ad. After that, they're going to see this, right? And the ads are different, right? The second part is remarketing could be products. So say you go on for Fazwaz, which is obviously one of our flagship products, and you remarket. If you land on a project, it will remarket you that project, not Fazwaz, right? No one cares about Fazwaz. Yeah. They want to buy that project, that unit in that project. So we have product remarketing. Yeah. So basically, if they go on to, say you've got service A, B, C, or D. Yeah. As long as you've got the URL structure, A, B, C, or D, you say, if they've been on project A or page A, retarget them with this ad. But if they've been on project page B, so people are seeing different ads as opposed to just one universal ad, which adds no one's value. Yeah. And if you go onto hotel booking sites, they're very, very good at it. If you go and look at a hotel, you pop on Facebook, you see that hotel being marketed to you. You don't see booking.com. They're marketing to you that hotel. Yeah, buy booking.com. They're not like, hey, come book a hotel at booking.com. That's not relevant. Yeah, but it's like, hey, listen, you were looking at this hotel, you know, or, you know, maybe there's a price discount. And then, you know, on remarketing, you can also add value discounts to say, listen, they didn't inquire the first time, but remarketing could be a voucher. Listen, you can get this product service right now for the next 24 hours, 10% off if you claim now. All right. And give them, you know, reasons to re-engage with your brand because they've left. Yeah. So reminding them might not just be good enough. Yeah. So remarketing is very, very useful. The other one is display advertising, which then you question where you want to see it. Yeah, because display advertising, you're not targeting any users that have already been on your platform. You're looking for a set demographic. So then you want to be, okay, well, listen, if I'm doing display targeting, I'll pay for ads on a certain number of sites. And I want site A, site B, site C. For example, I don't know, say you're in the UAE and you're selling something, you might say, listen, Dubizzle is a good platform I want to do display targeting on. Yeah. Yeah. Not like retargeting would already appear on Divisois through the AdSense platform. Yeah. But if you're doing display targeting, which is that, which is like banner ads, the online version of billboards, then yeah, maybe you want to be more specific because you want to get a demographic that's relevant to you. And otherwise, if you're putting on a random gaming site, you're going to be attracting kids, right? And you've got to ask questions, is that really what you want? So there's a lot of, in the marketing toolbox, there's a lot of tools, and technology has moved on so quickly now that the efficiencies are insane. Absolutely crazy what you can do. Yeah.
But let's talk about that then. Let's what are some, because with our company, with all the best intentions in the world, we're very thin on the ground in regards to manpower. So rather than having 50 people on there that's working on this thing, what are these robots and AIs which you think, and one of them, for example, we want to clean this data up. We've got X amount on our database, 75% of it. We've been to one company, they say 75% of it is dog. Okay.
Yeah.
But is there any company specific that you'd recommend in regards to that? I think go through that data and clean it up the right sort of way.
So the problem is people think that marketing is a creative function, and it's really, really not. Marketing is a technical function now, right? Before it used to be creative because you just choose a billboard and then say, I need some catchy. But now it's very technical, right? Because the internet with so many users, like you can literally be very specific and targeted in terms of what you're trying to achieve. So number one, if you're going to hire in-house, get someone who's a technical marketer, right? No, don't let them just put, I've done Facebook ads. I mean, anyone can do that, right? The platform is very, very simple to use, right? But you want someone who understands, the flows on how to tag. And so number one, look for someone who is technical, that has done this before. Because, we've training a marketing director, I think you know him, Al, and I'm training him up how to do this. And it's a long process, right? Maybe a year to get him to the level where we need him to get. Because it's a very complex landscape. So you want someone who's technical, that's done this before. Yeah, that would really help. If not, you want to engage, maybe not an agency. Agencies kind of like, they're very much branded organizations that overcharge. Yeah, but you can utilize platforms like Upwork and have access to the universe of freelancers that someone can create funnels for you. Yeah. And the first thing is create a funnel and then apply the marketing to that funnel. But otherwise you're not doing anything. So it is, there's so many different tools. It's like, hey, listen, if you've got no users on your site, then that would be a question. If you've got lots of users and no conversions, then it would be, it's a subject of, okay, we've got lots of people going on the site, how they're engaging, and why are we not getting business from this, right? Is it because our call to actions aren't clear? Could we put anything on there? Could we have, for example, live chat, which is already there, and then people are like, well, if we have live chat, we need someone to man it. But you don't. You can have automated replies. It's all there in the system, and they're building it so anyone with any kind of knowledge around the system could actually, utilize this stuff. So marketers in general should be aware of like what kind of, tools, but there's very few good ones. That's the difficulties. There's very few people that know the full tool sets. And there's different trends popping up as well. I mean, like, back in the day, Facebook used to be really, really cheap to buy leads on. Yep. The reality is it's now TikTok. TikTok is super crazy cheap to buy leads on. Like really, it's basically where Facebook was, where the lead generation side is still in its infancy. So I've got dog barking here. But yes, so people kind of like some of the issues we see is that people just, what worked for them 5 years ago is not relevant to today. Yeah, the market moves so quickly in relation to cost and traffic and everything else. So it's a technical aspect, basically.
Okay, but like any specific, apart from Upwork, are there any specific sort of websites? For example, this cleaning of the database, like to make sure that this company is legit and they're doing it the right way. And anyone specific that you'd recommend?
Well, it depends when you say cleaning of database, like really what you're trying to achieve. So what, you've got a database of clients that you're trying to clean up and understand?
Yeah. So we've got, let's say 20,000, okay? And the company's come in and they've said, only about 25% of these are actually legitimate email addresses. It's either 45 at info ats or the people are no longer at those companies and stuff. But we just need to like match that up and confirm that that's actually correct, because the owner of the company is saying that can't be true.
Sorry, 1 second. Let me just come in charge. Cool. Scared. So basically, like I'll give you an example of something I'm doing at the moment. So I'm raising capital. Venture capital is a numbers game. You've got to kiss enough frogs to find a prince, as my business partner always tells me, right? So I get a VA to get me a list of all the funds, right? But I don't have their direct contact details. So I'm the same issue as you. I've got generic info accounts. Yeah. So there's tools out there, for example, Rocket Reach. Yeah, good one. You can chuck in all the emails and it will get you the main people automatically, the names, emails, and numbers of the main people within them organizations. They're active. Yeah, automatically for you. Yeah. So basically the clean exercise becomes automated. You run the script, whoop, you load in all the things, it loads out information. Next minute you have everyone's contact details, and then your content is now enriched, your database is enriched instantly. There's also validation services where you can chuck in all the emails into an email validation software, and it will tell you which emails are actually, not even active. So you could just, like they're just gone, right? That would be useful to know. Yeah, from the start.
Yeah.
There's also ways you can enrich the data from LinkedIn automatically. Yeah. So you can then, so once you have the names, you can chuck and it starts pulling in all their information from LinkedIn. So then your whole database, it's like then Mark, I can get Mark. Now here's his email, here's his number from LinkedIn. Is it because LinkedIn holds a lot of information on the sales program, and it's a software that does this for you. And you can find out that, this is where he worked before. So you understand your clients a bit better if it's individuals, because, you've got two aspects. You've got organizations and you've got the actual people you're targeting within the organizations, right? Okay. So really what you're trying to find out really about the people in the organizations, this is who you're going to be engaging with, because sales is the metric of speaking to other people. So to get them on board. So there's tools that can validate your database, your CRM database, and then enrich it with more information automatically. Yeah. And they're very, very useful tools. But most people will just do it as a manual process, right? And that will take ages.
Well, so this is my question. So that we've got 20,000 people. We now need to clean that. But from what I've seen, you've got to extract it and then they go through it. But then how do you get the clean stuff, or how do you fill in the blanks and get that back straight onto the CRM without manually having to do it? Like, is there any tools for that? I know there are tools, but anyone specific like you recommend?
So the easiest way is, what CRM are you using, for example, in this?
Zoho.
So Zoho is like one of the big ones, right? Like Salesforce or Pipedrive. They all sync to Google Sheets. Yeah. So what we do is Google Sheets is the online version of Excel, right? But just as good, right? So we sync everything to Google Sheets because you can manipulate data very, very quickly in Google Sheets. Yeah. So what you want to do is set up the sync. There's Zapier. There's a company called Zapier. It will sync any CRM to Google Sheets. So basically, you're now viewing your whole client list in Excel. And we know that utilizing Excel, we're very familiar with it. We can change the data at a rapid pace rather than click on this page, changing the cell here, then going on. So get it into Google Sheets. That's the start. Get all the data synced into Google Sheets. A company called Zapier. It's very, very, I think it's free, but if not, it's super cheap, like a few dollars, right? Now you've got a two-way sync between your CRM and your Google Sheets. Yeah. So anything and that's when you realize, okay, right, I'm now empowered to do this very quickly. And I think that will be the core difference. The difference between someone like myself or someone I work with versus another one is that we could just do it 10 times quicker and 10 times more efficient and see 10 times the value. Yeah. And that's a crazy benefit. So you want to be syncing to Google Sheets. Yeah. So then you've columnized it and tabularized it in a spreadsheet format. And then you can basically work from that. And you've got two ways to you change something in Google Sheets, it updates in your Zoho CRM. You change something in Zoho, updates in your Google Sheets, and they're basically synced. That is the core start of it, right? Because then if you're going to manipulate a huge amount of data, you can do it super quickly. Yeah. Okay. So part of it for marketers is that if you can't use Google Sheets or Excel in kind of like a medium level, you don't have to be super advanced, but like, you know, you can write, you know, a VLOOKUP very, very quickly. It empowers you so much. I say to all marketers, you know, you have to like, you know, skill up, right? And become slightly more technical, because, you know, like you know, you can be as creative and as good as you want, but if you don't have that. So when you're looking for marketers, you want people suggesting stuff like this. Yeah. If someone's like, hey, you know, I'm going to go through your CRM and call everyone, it's like, you know, that's not efficient. Yeah. So it's like, hey, if someone's saying, hey, listen, I'll connect Zoho to Google Sheets. We've then got all the clients, we then poll it all into Rocket Reach, poll it back. We've now got all the actual people's email addresses that work with these companies. Yeah, we can then validate that, say, okay, 95% of these are active. Right, that's a good start, right? Yeah, you can do that in about 4 hours. Yeah, like 100,000, yeah, as opposed to, you know, where do you start otherwise? So, yeah, a golden tool is to utilize spreadsheets. Everything we do is in spreadsheets. So all our systems talk to Google Sheets. We hook all of them, because I only view data in Google Sheets, because spreadsheets do so much more than what any CRM can do, right? They're so advanced. They're so easy to manipulate data, you know, to reformat data, anything, right? Find and replace, like these. So that's like a golden goose. It's like Google Sheets, everything, yeah. And the way Google Sheets is all fully integrated is they've built out this functionality. People have been using it for 10 years.
So we're using Microsoft for emails. So does that matter? Like, would you just use Microsoft Excel and not be the same, or does it have to be Gmail?
You know, well, you know, you can Google Sheets connects to anywhere. It doesn't matter. Like, you can use Excel 360, I think it's called now. It's the same, right? But like, Google Sheets means that you can share the data of anyone without them having an Excel account, right? Because it's totally, and
which is it's amazing that Google Sheets.
Yeah. So you know, we use it for absolutely everything. Everything in and out of. So when we talk about our database is Google Sheets. It powers all our systems. Yeah.
What's the username and password?
It's all right. We start with information, right? Yeah. So that sync is a golden part. Get the data into a format that you can understand. Yeah. In like a holistic overview. And then you can use like pivot tables to understand the data in more detail. Okay, we got 22% are active. You can do it really, really quickly. You know, just write one formula and you've got all the information. Yeah. So that would be for your situation. Sync Zoho. I mean, you know, if I Google it now, it'll be Zapier will come up and it'll be a 10-minute implementation. You could do it, Mark. You wouldn't even need a marketer to do it. No. You wouldn't need a technical person. They've made it now so anyone could do everything. There's just a massive knowledge gap in relation to high performance marketers versus like generic marketers that, you know,
What have you Googled?
I'll tell you now, 1 second. So I'll type in the Zoho to Google Sheets. Yeah. And I'll tell you what the first one that comes up is obviously Zoho. Yeah. So and then Zapier. So Zoho recommends is use Zapier. So it's like, when you go to your CRM, there's integrations. I'll ping you the link. And it basically, it's a one click and it's done. That's because the reason why it's one click and it's done is because everyone does it. But your company not doing it, right? So, and that's what and it's not just your company, it's every company.
No, I get it, exactly. That's why I'm asking you, because there are these little tricks and stuff, but I don't know the exact companies. But
if I just share, I could share my screen quickly. Just could you give me hosting ability?
Yeah. You're running. I'm not technical enough for this. Don't worry about that for now. I'll put it in the video link.
Okay, I'll send you a link. There you go.
Screen options. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. But so let's run through with this. So we've got 20,000 people on a database. They've told us that X amount is not clean. You're saying to go into this company called Rocket Reach, for example, they would confirm that these numbers are wrong.
So okay, fine. So what you want to do is, number one, you want to validate the information, right? So there's email validation number validators. You could just pile them in; it will give you back the information. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you know. So now you know. Then you can say, right, how much of our data isn't accurate? Yeah. If you've got generic email addresses like info at, like pointless, right? You need a person. Otherwise, I might as well email when I'm doing my capital raise funds info accounts, right? So what I do is I email the people. So Rocket Reach, you can put any company name in there, and it will give you back the people and contact details of the people that work there.
What
Right? And you
company,
can
sorry?
choose.
What
So
did you say?
so Rocket Reach, you can put the company name in,
Okay.
and it will give you back the people. You can choose what positions you want. It will give you back their individual email, because all the information is already on the internet in some capacity, right?
Yeah.
It does very automated form, right? Otherwise, what someone's gonna load up every website, go through. Look, I mean, what a waste of time that one would be, right? So so get your data into Zoho.
Yeah.
Sorry, from Zoho into Google Sheets. Just do an email validator to see, okay, this is how many addresses are active. If you Google email validator, there's loads of them. There's phone number validators. Then you'd be like, okay, well, we've got generic info accounts for, 1,000 out of these 2,000. Let's run them through Rocket Reach, right? I think Rocket Reach is like, I don't know, $150 a month, and does up to a few thousand, and then you've got the information you need, right? And then already you've just taken a data set and made it about 10 times better, right?
Yeah.
And you could do that 2 hours, and then you're like, okay, well, now where we are, and that's a huge improvement on so understanding your CRM data in a much better capacity.
Okay, so here's another question.
At
the moment, manually, we have to, when somebody opts out of the email, manually we have to then go onto the CRM and then take that away. That's my understanding at the moment. Is there a better way, so it just literally automatically takes that person out? Your next campaign.
100%. So it depends what you're using for your email marketing. So if you're using a company like MailChimp, they integrate with your CRM. They all do this. So we're in the world now of integrated, cloud-based platforms. So when you go into your MailChimp or whatever you're using, it could be MailPass or anything, you can then connect it to your CRM, and it will automatically remove them from the next campaign. Or update your CRM saying these people opt out, right? This is all just standard functionality that's been in.
But update the CRM, that's what I'm saying. If we go through it now and there's 500 people that opt out, like from what I understand, we haven't removed those people. We tend to still do the same emails, and then we're getting blocked because of it, because people don't want to receive these emails.
Okay, the question is that, okay, EDMs aren't that effective, right? I mean, listen, if I send you an email, I send you WhatsApp, which ones do you read first?
WhatsApp.
Right, so basically, emails are something of the past, right? So we're in a project now where we're now integrating what was, email campaigns into WhatsApp, because you've got WhatsApp businesses, they support full workflows now, Line, WeChat, whatever, right? There is much better communication methods than email now, because the problem with email is it got spammed 10 years ago. It started getting bad. Now you go to your email box, you've got 200 emails from nonsense. You end up deleting it. And even Google says, this is, if you've got Gmail, it says, this is promotional material. It doesn't even show it to you. It just puts it in its own tab. So it's like, so it's like, listen, there are so much better ways to connect with people than email. Because the reason why people don't do is like, well, we have their email addresses. Well, just put into Rocket Reach. You can probably get their numbers and then add them to WhatsApp and get WhatsApp business. And you can have drip campaigns on WhatsApp. They all support this stuff now. And it's much more effective.
All right, this has been absolutely great. I think we started off a little bit not in a good place because I put you on the spot, but I think we really picked up speed. It was really some amazing stuff you've given there. So thank you very much. I know you for being a truth bomb man. You love dropping bombs on people, telling them how it is. So you've got 30 seconds. Give people the real deal on something that you want to speak about. Entrepreneurialism, I don't know, whatever. Marketing.
Right, I'll do it directly for marketing, right? Don't tell me your marketing can't use Google Sheets. You're lying, and you wouldn't have 10 seconds with me in my life for trying to market with a bigger company. So if you have to be innovative, don't be your creative. You have to be innovative, understand technology. That's the world we're living in now. The world has changed, and And that's the reality. It's not my view, it's the reality. So marketers, if you're not utilizing this, then you're kidding yourself. You should be working at Sainsbury's. Okay, straight up.
Love it. Innovative, not creative. Yeah, more technical. We're looking for more technical.
Yeah, that's where it is. I mean, it's all about understanding who the user is, and that's all done through technology now, and how we can reach them in the correct manner, and and how they want to be reached. Is it email? Is it not email now? Yeah, because everyone's like, oh, emails. You can buy 1 million email addresses online for like $20. What's that going to do? Yeah, that's not going to really change the game for you at all. So yeah, so that's my golden tip. Yeah.
And thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. I think there's going to be some great knowledge share with people they can pick up, some quick wins. Even just getting back to the basics on some of this, people, they're banging their head against the wall wondering what to do. Let's get back to the basics. Who is our clients? Where are they? What are they doing? How do they want to be? How do they want to be fed this information? Don't feed them the way you want to feed them the way they want to be fed.
Exactly. You do it exactly like you would do. The people lose a beat when they go online. It's like, if you're doing this offline, you'd be like, and you sat down the team, like, who is our client? What are they trying to achieve? As soon as you're online, so I've got loads of email addresses, just send them one email. So like, it's like, because, oh, the online world is, but no, it's exactly the same. So you just got to work out, that aspect, and then, and all the technology has already been built. You don't have to build anything. It's already been built for you. It's really, really easy. Yeah. So anyway, that's just my take. If people like this, they like it. If they don't, you're idiots. So, fuck off.
Nice.
All right.
All right, Ken. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Speak to you soon.
Cool.
Nice one.
Take it easy.